This is the last video for expressions review for the final exam. So this is question 16. It says sketch the solution to each system of inequalities. So we're going to graph these each separately, starting with the top equation. I need to look at my inequality sign. I see that it's equal to, so that means my line will be solid. I'm going to start at -2, and then from there I'm going to go down 5, okay, and then to the right 1, but I can't go down 5 because I'm going to be off my graph, so that means I'm going to go up 5 and to the left 1. And like I said, this line is solid, so graph your solid line. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check which side I'm going to shade on by checking the point 0, 0. I get 0 is greater than or equal to, if I plug in 0 here, that cancels out. So I get -2. Is that true? Yes, it is. So I'm going to shade the part that includes 0, 0, which is to the right. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and graph my second line. So y is greater than -x plus 2. This one is going to be dotted because there's no equal to underneath. I'm going to start at 2. And my slope is -1, so that means I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1. And I'm going to make a dotted line. Again, I'm going to test this point 0, 0, which will give me 0 is greater than, this will be 0, so then that would be just 2. 0 is greater than 2, that is false. So I'm going to shade the side that 0, 0 is not on this line, which would be above it. So my solution is where my two shades cross, which doesn't really show very well here, but it is this area here. And that is your solution. All right, factoring. Oops. We need to factor this equation completely. So I'm going to make my t-table. My c goes here, my b goes here. Remember, you work your way in. C is -42. B is nothing here, so it's a +1. So I need to ask myself what two numbers multiply together to get -42, add together to get 1. If you use your chart that I gave you, the gold sheet, and I see that my factor is negative, my sum is positive, that is going to tell me that my larger number needs to be positive and my smaller number needs to be negative. So when I'm filling this out here, we're going to start with 1 and 42. My smaller number is negative, larger number is positive. So -1 times 42 is -42, but -1 plus 42 is 41, and that does not work. We want it to be 1. So I'm going to move on to -2. -2 and 21. But when I add those together, I get, oops, I get 19. And that does not work. Does 3 go into 42? Yes, it does. So we got -3 and -14. Oh, sorry, +14. Which is 11. That's not 1, so keep going. Does -4 go evenly into 42? Let's check it. No, it does not. -5 doesn't. -6 does. -6 and 7. And then we add them together, that equals 1, so that's my winner. So then once I have it in this part, I'm going to plug it into n minus 6 times n plus 7. And that is factored. If I wanted to take it one step further and find my zeros, it would be n equals 6, n equals negative 7. Which brings me to number 18. It says write a quadratic expression that has the roots of 4 and 3. Well, if we remember, when we're plugging these into our binomial, it's like these numbers and we're plugging them into the binomial, so we must change our signs. So we're going to go x minus 4, x minus 3, and then you will FOIL it. So I'm going to multiply my first terms to get x squared, my outer terms to get negative 3x, my inner terms to get negative 4x, and my last terms to get positive 12. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7x plus 12. And that's my final answer. So the biggest thing with these is remembering that when you plug them into the binomial, you must change your sign, because in the multiple choice on the test, they will give you one of each. All right, same thing for 19. So when we plug this in, we must change our sign. So it would be x plus 2 and x minus 5. Then we go ahead and distribute. X times x, x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 2 times x is positive 2x. And 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Combine my like terms, which are these two. So I'm going to bring down my x squared minus 3x minus 10. And this is my final answer here. And finally, number 20, we must solve this equation with the quadratic formula. So first thing I must make sure is that my equation's in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, as you can see here, it equals 21. So we need to move that 21 to the other side. So what we're going to do is subtract it from both sides. And I'm going to rewrite this equation to 4r squared plus 8r minus 21 equals 0. Then I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my quadratic equation, which is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, if you don't already have that written down in your notes for tomorrow or for Friday's test, you need to make sure that you do so. Okay, so let's plug in some stuff here. And if you remember, I told you let's focus in on the square root first, because that will simplify our math that we have to do. So if I do square root of b squared, so I'm just going to label, we have a here, this is b, and this is c. So we have 8 squared minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c, which is negative 21. I just want to put that in parentheses. Now, if you're plugging this whole thing in your calculator, make sure you get a parenthesis around the front and the back of the square root. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in right now. And I should get 20 here. So if you do it by square root, you should get 400, square root of 400, which is 20. So instead of this part here, I'm going to put a 20. So I'm going to plug in my negative b. Well, b is 8, so I have a negative 8 plus or minus 20 all over 2 times a, and a is 4. So now this is going to break up into 2 equations. I'm going to have my negative 8 plus 20 all over, what's 2 times 4? That's 8. And I'm going to have my negative 8 minus 20. And this is also over 8. Solve the top part first. Negative 8 plus 20 is negative 12. Or I'm sorry, positive 12. Divided by 8, which is 1.5. And negative 8 minus 20 is negative 28. Divided by 8 is negative 3.5. So my two solutions are 1.5 and negative 3.5. And that wraps up your expressions final exam review.